My story about the time I went on Seeking Arrangements. I was 18 at the time. I had just graduated and I was going to Northeast Lakeview College. And I kept on hearing about the site and I was like, well, let me check it out. Like, I didn't think it was real. I thought it was going to be some like old creep behind the computer, like either wanting pictures or just like wanting to meet up with someone and just do something weird. And I was really like a wild child. I was like, let me try this out and stuff. It doesn't hurt. You only live once. So instantly I started getting a lot of like messages. Like, you have some that were like, are you going to be my little girl? Just creepy stuff like that. There was a couple of them that were in Texas that said, hey, I can fly you out somewhere. I'm not going anywhere. Like, that's just not going to happen. And then I ran across this one guy, and we're going to call him Tiger because that's the nickname I gave him. And Tiger was a news reporter in town, and I was just like, oh my goodness, like, this is not legit, whatever. So we just started talking. I was like, well, I'm just going to bullshit with him. And he was like, well, do you want to meet for coffee or something? And I was like, I don't drink coffee, like an idiot that I was. And he was like, oh, well, what do you want to go out to eat? And then we ended up going to the Forum. It's basically like a mall shopping center area. And we went to go get something to eat at, what was it called? The Outback or something. And when I went in there and sat, I got a drink and I was just sitting in there and I was like, oh, he's probably just not going to show up, and like, ha ha ha, the joke's on me. And he ended up showing up. He was a very attractive Asian man. He was in his like late 40s, and he was like, because I went by Kitty Cat online, he was like, Kitty Cat. I was like, hi. And like, I call him Tiger because, you know, he's an Asian man. And I was just like, oh, like, that's exotic, like, something cool, whatever. And we just started talking about life, and he started telling me all the stuff that he was doing in his family life. And I was new to this. So he said, well, I really like you. I'm really interested in you. And he was like, so what's your price? And I was like, oh, like, well, I don't want to do anything with you. Like, that's not how I like it. And I just wanted to do this long thing. He was like, no, I'm just saying, like, first, like, I want to spend time with you, hang out with you. And after that, we exchanged, what was it that we exchanged? Numbers, because we were still talking off the site. So weird, so creepy. I don't even know why I went, not even having his number. We exchanged numbers, and he was talking to me through email, and he was like, I was just trying to make sure you're legit because a lot of girls on there, you know, scam and whatnot. And he had a wife and kids at the time. And he was like, I don't know if that's okay with you. And I said, I don't know. Like, I don't want your wife getting mad. And he was like, she'll never know. And I was just like, well, how do you know? And like, do you think it's okay? And I started asking questions. And after that, he ended up leaving. And then before he left, he was like, here's $180 or something. It was like $200 because he had paid for food, and he just gave me that like nothing. And he was like, I'll see you later. And he gave me a kiss on the cheek and walked me out to the car. So after that, we began seeing each other like on a regular, like, and that was like very rare. Like, he would see me like maybe once a month, but he would always talk to me and stuff, just tell me how work was going and whatnot. And there'd be times where like I would be just sitting at home, and I'm like, hey, can you send me money for food or something? And he'd always send me $100. And eventually, after a while, we started hooking up. And once we started hooking up, he had helped me get a place, and he started paying my rent. He paid the rent, and he paid the electric. And I believe that was like for the whole lease. He paid it for the whole lease. Yeah, it was actually the whole lease, and I didn't have to pay water because it was the apartment that I was staying in. And I was paying my phone bill and whatnot, and then he would just give me extra money. So we began like actually just hanging out like regular, and he would come over, and he was like almost like he was living there, just walking around like no one would know who he was, like taking out trash and stuff. And I was thinking to myself, he's probably going through a midlife crisis. Like, I don't know. And he was like, hey, you know, kitty cat, like, I noticed that you don't have a trash can. So I went and bought your trash can. He'd just do nice stuff like that. And little nice things mean a lot more to me than like other things. And then he was getting me into tasting like different wines and whatnot. And he was asking me like what I want to do, like what I want to go to school for and all this other stuff. And he explained to me like a lot of things about life. That was really like a great situation. At the end, I started getting upset and whatnot because like he wasn't able to see me like all the time and stuff, and I was really young, and I was just like, hey, let's hang out and stuff. And like I had to realize like he had a family and whatnot, and there'd be times where he's like, can't hang out here, let me shoot you some money. And then he surprised me, he got me some furniture. And I was like, oh, thank you. It's actually similar to the one like I have now. Like, I was like, you know, I was appreciative, and I was like, thank you and stuff. And like, I really appreciate it, because I thought that when the people had came to the house, they went to the wrong house, and then they repeated my address, my name and everything. And I was like, oh yeah, this is it. And he was like, surprised and stuff. Sorry, I can't see you and whatnot, but I do miss you. I am thinking of you. And so the incident came up where we had a pregnancy scare. And like, when I say a pregnancy scare, he was really scared. It was like ridiculous. Like, he had gave me, no, before that, let me rewind. We had got into a big fuss and argument because, he had got it to where he paid off almost all the furniture, but he was trying to explain to me if he was paying my rent and paying my electric and paying that, sometimes he's gonna miss payments and stuff. And I was like, well, if like this is like what we agreed to, and I didn't even ask you for furniture and stuff, they're calling me and stuff, and that makes me nervous, because you know how like people, they knock on your door when they come. So I was so frustrated with him. We were arguing and stuff, and he had bills to pay, but like he had promised. By that time, he had already paid the rent in advance and stuff, so that wasn't like the issue. But he would, like, my thing is, I'm really big on, if you say you're gonna do something right then and there, like, please try to make that happen and stuff like that, because like if I'm like depending on that situation right then and there, like, you should keep your word if I'm keeping my word. So he didn't do that. I got frustrated. We had like a pregnancy scare, and then out of nowhere he was like, oh, he showed up, and then he literally gave me $1,800, and he was like, yeah, you need to go take care of this. You need to screenshot me everything, like when you go to this place, when you do all this stuff. And I said, well, I don't know for sure. And he said, well, no, you need to go now, and you need to do this. And like, he was putting out demands and stuff, and like, he was like, unless like, you know, if you're not pregnant, you want to keep it and stuff, we have to figure this out and stuff, because like, it's all up to you. It's all your decision. This is very stressful, but I'm just telling you, it is your decision. He was like, you know, like, I think that we would have like a beautiful baby and our chemistry and all this. And he was like, yeah, but again, you know, like, I have a family. And I was like, no, I understand. So we went through the motions, and then after that and stuff like that, it was like something like, it was a little bit like strange. Like after that, it's strange, like a lot of things happened. And I ended up having the baby and whatnot, and he was like, I don't even know if I could trust you anymore, and just like a bunch of other stuff. It was like a bunch of crazy, like, just nonsense. You know, like, obviously, like, later on, like, we figured that out, and it wasn't like his child, and we took care of that situation. He was frustrated with me. I was frustrated with him. I was just like, you can't expect me just to do like jump, like right when you say jump and stuff. And he's like, I'm trying to help you in your future and stuff, and you're not understanding. And I said, but also like, you're also looking out for yourself too. Like, it's more so like convenient for you, because like, you told me that you couldn't come over last week for dinner and stuff like that, but you sent me money to get dinner, and you didn't come over. But then as soon as you found that part out, you were over there in 30 minutes and stuff. So you have to understand that. So we would have like our little clashes and stuff. But other than that, I could say like I had like a really good experience. Like I had another experience as well, but it was like a totally different experience. Like this guy, he would like hang out with me. He was really cool. We went to like different country bars, and it was just like a whole like way different experience. It wasn't like as much as I made then. It was like every time he would see me, he would give me like maybe like $500. So it was like, that's what it was. And it was nice. Like, I'm not going to say like, it was just like more honest. He was more sincere and what he was looking for and what we talked about, like, which wasn't much because we were polar, like opposite in a way. Like we just lived two different lives and stuff. And I remember like one time, and I actually he didn't disclose any, like, if he was married or whatnot. I didn't see a ring on him or anything. So, like, I don't know. But he didn't disclose that. And I remember it was my first time, like, ever going to, like, this really, really nice hotel. And I wasn't used to people, like, holding your stuff and trying to walk you in and stuff. And I didn't know. So, like, I'm in the hotel and stuff, and they're, like, getting the stuff for me. And I said, I got it. I didn't know that's their job to do that. And I was like, oh, okay. And they were just so welcoming, and it was just so beautiful. We had drinks, and a couple of other times, like, we went places. It was just, like, a good experience. So, all in all, I will say the site is really good. It's really what you make of it. Like, you know, like, I've had people, like, message me before and stuff and say, hey, can you come meet me right now? Let's do this and that, and like I'll give you $200 and stuff. And I was like more so like piss off, like no. It's really like what your arrangement is and what you're agreeing to. There are people on that site are like that. I actually had a situation one time where this guy kept on emailing me, and we ended up exchanging numbers, and he kept on sending me like this long paragraph and stuff telling me who he was and saying, well, I'll send you money, but I just need your banking information and your routing information. And I was like, yeah, okay. And I trust a Nigerian prince overseas that wants that information as well. And so I was blocked instantly. But that was my experience and stuff, and I enjoyed myself. The only thing that I could say that sucks is like with my first situation, like I can understand, like, yeah, like he went into this saying he's married, but he was telling me that he was currently separated. And like when you're getting into a situation like that, you may not like understand like that. Like for all I know, he couldn't have been separated. He just didn't want to tell me that he was just like looking to have fun and looking for like a sugar baby with no strings attached. In my mind, he made me think that like how he came over, how I was really just like committed to him and just talking to him, and I would be waiting for a long time. There'd be sometimes like where he did not even text me, but then I'm like ping and he'd send me money and stuff, and like out of nowhere. So it was just like a weird situation. And like I don't want to say like he's a full like liar, because that's not what I don't want to say that, because he's a really good person. But I think that you have to be careful and you have to be clear when you're talking to people on the site what they are looking for, and do not let them persuade you. Do not let them have you have your hopes up, like you're thinking that it's something more than what it really is. And I think that really was the situation, because like when sometimes like when he came over, he'd come over for like maybe 45 minutes. We'd sit there, watch TV. Sometimes we just make out a little bit, have like just like that, and then like it was just that, and we'd be talking about different things, like web designing stuff. He explained to me about work and stuff. It was like a relationship. And I just think in his mind, like overall, he wanted someone to more so talk to, and he felt like I owed him so much and stuff. Like he really did. He thought like, you know, I owed him the world. And I'm sitting here thinking to myself, like, what are you doing? Like, so what is this? And we'd hang out, go to dinner. All of that was great. He talked to me about his kids. And I think that was a red flag as well, because he never talked about his wife. that he claimed that he was separated and they were going through stuff. He never talked about that, but he'd always talk about his kids. We were talking about, like, you know, just like happy things and stuff. And that was one that he didn't get into. So I think that should have been like a red flag for me. But being 18 and stuff like that, I promise you, like, all my screws weren't screwed in and stuff. I couldn't figure that out. I didn't know the questions to ask. It's just like he told me something and I just said, oh, okay. And then he had got me this nice place and I was so excited because it was like my first place ever. Like, and I was just like, oh my goodness, like, this is so exciting. I can't believe this is happening and stuff. And then there'd be times where he would drop off stuff at my school for me, and he would just like put a lot of different things on my laptop, like a lot of Microsoft and just like a lot of amazing things. Now I know how amazing it was, but then I'm just like, thanks. And he was like, do you know what I put on here? Like, do you like? And I didn't get it at the time. I was like, oh, well, thank you again. And he was like laughing, like, you're welcome. So yeah, and to this day, like, you know, like, I used to get, like, maybe last year or the last year before that, I used to get like a lot of emails and stuff. And from him, he's like, hey, I hope all is well and stuff. And I said, I hope you're well and whatnot. But needless to say, like, he stayed with his wife. So it was like really one of those situations, like, I guess, like, sometimes, like, when people are saying that they're separated does not mean that they're not going to work on things. Like, when you think of separated, it comes to my mind as like, oh, you're divorced and stuff, you know, you're no longer living together. And I found out later, no, they actually were living together. And there'd be times where he couldn't come see me because that's what he was doing. But I'd be sitting there thinking, like, SpongeBob, like, I'm ready, like, we're gonna go here, we're gonna go there. And then he'd like say at the last minute and stuff, he was like, you know, like, I know, like, I paid for a babysitter and stuff, here, take this money, go shopping, go do this and stuff. And it's like, I'm not even really dressed for that. So I'd just be walking downtown and stuff, and I'd go, you know, just like whatever, call a friend, they'd get a drink for me, and we'd just be hanging out downtown at the Riverwalk. And it was fun, but it was just like, so your plans changed. And his thing was, but I gave you money, you had fun still, And I'm just thinking to myself, like, yeah, I had fun, but in my head, I'm thinking, I can't wait to do this. I can't wait to tell you how my week's going. I can't wait to tell you how school was, like how much it sucked and how much I was thinking of changing, like, my major and like all this stuff. And what do you think about this? And I couldn't wait to hear what he had to say. So it was like really one of those situations. I think I didn't know what I was actually really going on the site for. I was more so just like, maybe like this, like, I don't know, like, you know, vacation, we hang out, we have fun. And it actually was that, but that's just my story time and stuff. Like, think about it before you do something like that, because you really have to be careful. Like, my situations, I got really lucky. People were crazy. There was a guy that told me that I reminded him so much of his niece and stuff. And would I dress like this or would I have a certain sin, I had to block him. There are crazy people out there. Some people are not even, like, the people that I talked to were 100% verifiable. He showed me the website and his name and everything was on there, and I was just like, oh, so, like, you know, he is legit and stuff. And he was showing me stuff. He talked a lot about himself and like just all the stuff that he accomplished. There was that one, the creep that said I reminded him of his niece and stuff. He was not verifiable. And he was just like, what's the big deal? Like, I'm going to give you money and stuff. Like, I just want you to role play. And he was really aggressive with me. And that's why I never met him. And I would always give, like, you know, not your real number out and stuff. He was already pushy to give his real number out. And sometimes when you have guys like that, that tell you, let's hang out, and like trying to give you an hour and stuff, don't do that. Because you don't know what that is. That person's rushing you and they're trying to meet on their terms and stuff. And he was like, well, I'm only going to be here for a few more hours and stuff. None of that made sense, and it could have been a dangerous situation. So if you verify, meet at a public place, and really talk to them about exactly what they're looking for and what type of arrangement like y'all could have. Don't go into something with someone just selling you something. And that's another thing when people were good at marketing and stuff. He was telling me all these great things and stuff like that. but I didn't really know what I was agreeing to. It was like almost like I heard him say like he could give me, what did he say? He said it was a stipend. Yeah, he said stipend. He used that word. And he's like, I can give you this, and this is what we're going to do. We'd have so much fun and all this stuff. I really like you. I think you're hilarious and all these things and stuff. But yeah, so just be on the lookout for stuff like that. It's really good if you're going to school, if you're really trying to make something of yourself. You could meet people that genuinely care. But that's just my story time.